It's the penultimate day of the PokerStars.com EPT Grand Final in Madrid. Leading the pack is online pro Eugene Unite.
The EPT final is the largest buy-in tournament I've ever played. I think it's extremely prestigious.
Spanish favourite Juan Maceras is no stranger to cashing deep, but knows how difficult it is to go all the way.
It's the most important tournament in whole Europe. Winning this will mean a lot for me.
Taking down the title would be the jewel in the Triple Crown for the formidable Alex Gomez.
Winning the EPT Grand Final here in Madrid will be really important for me.
Our remaining 24 players have fought long and hard to make it this far, but it's now time to play down to the last 8 and find out who will stand a chance of being crowned our Grand Final champion. Tourists from all over the world are drawn to Madrid for its grand architecture, rich culture and great nightlife. But the main attraction for the world's greatest poker players is the arrival of the pinnacle of European poker. To top off Season 7, the EPT Grand Final has moved to the Spanish capital. We're getting close to the final table here in Madrid with the life-changing money and title of EPT Grand Final champion within the remaining players' grasp. On the flip side, it is a beautiful city, so I might just go shopping. Only joking. Let's catch up on the story so far. We saw 686 players flood through the doors here at the Casino Gran Madrid. Each player bought in for €10,000, creating a huge prize pool of just under 7 million, giving us a whopping first prize of €1.5 million. One man with more incentive than most is Alex Gomez. He is one of an elite group of players in line to become a Triple Crown winner.
I already won the World Series and WPT, and if I win the EPT, I will have a Triple Crown. So this will be really important for me.
Taking down the Grand Final would secure him that rare accolade. But fellow team pro Juan Maceras is hoping to become a local hero by being the first Spaniard ever to secure an EPT title. And doing it on home soil would make it that much sweeter.
We are in the Grand Final, it's the most important tournament in whole Europe, best players around the world. Winning in Madrid would mean a lot for me.
Or could it be emerging Venezuelan poker pro Ivan Freitas? He burst the bubble here in Madrid and has a ruthless reputation on the felt. Will his game plan lead him into the final? Chess master and triple draw specialist Eugene Unite starts the day as chip leader. And with his deepest live run to date, it is already shaping up to be a great breakthrough performance.
I don't play that many live tournaments. If I could win this, my name would become known. It would be pretty cool.
And it was our current chip leader who caused the shock demise of the young man who was in the top 5 for the last 2 days. Ole Nagard was amongst the big stacks until a huge blow-up against Eugene late last night left him crippled. So it was no surprise that the young Norwegian is our first casualty of day 4. His 10's no match for Jose Nadal's Queens within minutes of action getting underway. Not the finish he was expecting. 23 remain, and with several other short stacks in the field, let's get straight down to business and join our commentators James Hartigan and Joe Stapleton.
It's the penultimate day of the biggest poker event in Europe, and by the end of today, we will have our final table. At our feature table is the Brazilian pro who's going for the Triple Crown. It's Alex All-In Gomez.
He's going to have to win this event to afford the data charges from Madrid to Brazil. Right there's Victor Ramden, hot off a win in a final table and back-to-back events at the big event in Los Angeles.
Spanish pro Juan Maceras has already made 2 EPT final tables. He's going for a win here on home soil.
And Ivan Freitas has cashed on the EPT twice already this season. He owns a transport company, which is a little ironic. I wonder if they call it Easy Freight.
Also at our feature table, Sharia Sultani, Andre Danilyuk, Gerardo Godinez, and Pedro Pellicer. Average chips, 895,000. Blinds currently 10,000 and 20,000 with a 2,000 ante. We're playing down from 23 to 8. Action has been folded to Alex Gomez. He has ace-7 off. He folds. Victor Ramden looks like he wants to play, and that's why ace-queen suited in the hijack seat.
Victor starting off today with fewer than 20 big blinds.
3-5 for Danilyuk. He'll muck from the cutoff. Freitas is on the button. 7-9 of clubs. Juan Maceras has picked up 6s in the small.
I imagine he'll play this hand.
Counting out blue chips, which are worth 10,000 each. Yellows are 5 and reds are 1, so it's a 3-bet to 123,000.
I'm all in. I call.
All in and a call.
That was fast. We're barely underway here, and we've got our first race. And unfortunately for Victor, an ace was already folded.
The flop is king 7-8. 1 6s, still good.
Victor looking for an ace or a queen. He does have some backdoor outs.
Turn is a king, gives Victor additional outs.
I want an 8 or a 7.
An 8 or a 7 would counterfeit Maceras' hand.
The river is a 10. Victor Ramdin is eliminated. He's our 23rd place finisher.
Take care, man. Take care. Good match. Good luck.
He'll collect 40,000 euros.
Losing flips is a huge leak in Victor's game. I got to talk to him about that.
Support the game.
Juan Maceras has to be the local favorite to take down this event. If he makes the final table, I would expect his cheering section to be muy grande.
Let's head to the outer tables where we have an all-in. Raymond Sluter has kings. He's been called by Tamas Lenvai with ace-king. Sluter a huge favorite to double up. But not anymore, there's an ace on the flop.
That's not good.
And there is Raymond's girlfriend Fatima de Melo hoping that a king comes on the river. He only has 1 out. The Dutchman will finish in 22nd place here at the EPT Grand Final.
Well, at least he's got that consolation prize on the rail. Busting out, not looking so bad anymore.
Anyone would think it was Lenvai who lost that pot. Well, on the other outer table, the 2 big stacks in the room are tangling.
Unite's got a pair, but also a medium flush draw.
Brinkman's checked to him on the turn. Unite bets 100,000. Brinkman will make the call. The river is not a club, it's the 4 of hearts. Brinkman checks again.
This would be a pretty thin spot for value.
Is he turning his hand into a bluff? Either way, he's made it 170,000. Brinkman makes the call. Unite shows the 8s. And Brinkman mucks.
Sick value bet.
Well, after winning that pot against the German, Eugene Unite regains his position as tournament chip leader. Let's have a look at the top 10 stacks in the room. Unite is out in front, but not by much. Brinkman close behind. Juan Maceras also has more than 2 million in chips right now. As far as other players at our feature table are concerned, Ivan Freitas is 6th in chips, and Alex Gomez is sitting in 10th. Currently playing short-handed at the TV table, just 6 players at the moment, and the 2 shortest stacks are Gerardo Godinez with 630,000 and Sharia Sultani with 548,000. Actions on Gomez. It's an under-the-gun raise to 42k with 7-4 of hearts.
Gomez seems to like to do this every once in a while. He does not have a ton of chips.
Freitas is folded. Juan Maceras has Jack 8. It goes in the muck. Gerardo Godinez makes the call from the button. He's got pocket 4s. Palliser has given up the small blind. Sultani in the big blind with 9-4 of spades.
All the 4s are out.
And he makes the call as well.
I realize he's in at a discount, and it was basically a min raise, but that's a pretty loose defend from a short stack.
The flop is 5-6 deuce, an up and down straight draw for Alex Gomez. Godinez's 4s are still good, but Gomez is the statistical favorite. And he's continuing here for 55,000.
Godinez and Sultani both have gut shots. This really isn't that bad of a flop for 2 4s.
Godinez will call the continuation bet.
Sultani's reaching for chips. Wow, very loose peel from Sultani.
Doesn't really have the stack to be making these plays.
Sure doesn't.
So still three-way to the turn, which is another deuce.
Gomez picks up a flush draw to go with his gut shot. And he's had the betting lead the entire time. Typically, these guys like to keep betting when they pick up more outs.
Soltani has checked to him a second time. Gomez checks as well. Godinez reaches for chips, and he bets 120,000.
Time to see if Soltani is loose or suicidal.
He wisely folds.
I think there's a good chance we're going to see a check raise here.
Gomez moves all in.
This is some good old-fashioned aggressive poker. Maybe he wins the pot right here, and if he gets called, he's got plenty of outs.
He wins the hand right here because Godinez has folded.
Alexander Gomez has been pretty impressive this entire tournament, and this play was no exception.
Gets his stack up to 982,000.
Welcome back to the European Poker Tour Grand Final from Madrid. We are deep into the money and everyone's raising their game. Before the break, we saw Alex Gomez pull off a crafty bluff to take chips from the unsuspecting Godinez.
I raised on the gun with 7-4 suited. Godinez flats me from the bottom. 2 hands far. There was a ace-high board. I see bet he folds, so we have like some kind of history, and the big blind calls as well. The flop comes up 6-5 deuce. There's one heart down there. The big blind checks. I see bet like 55k. Godinez he calls, and the big blind calls as well. I don't put the big blind on big hand. Cool. The turn is a deuce. Pair the boards and a deuce of hearts, and now I have like an open end flush draw. And the big blind checks again. And now I change my plans actually. I plan at this moment to check raise all in because I'm pretty sure maxing out he's floating me. So I think he will bet the turn. So I check. He bets like 120 and he has like 300 behind. The Belgian guy folds, and I think for a while. And at this point, when I decide to move in, I'm representing a huge hand. The range that I put him on this hand specifically, I think he can't call my short number to turn. What I believe that he was folding me with. So I believe my hand is really strong. My move is really strong. My move that makes him fold. So I think it's the perfect spot to put it in and put the pressure on him.
Pressure's right. Gomez got Gerardo Godinez to lay down a pair of fours, which was the best hand. Nice move by the Brazilian. I put it right up there with the Pele bicycle kick.
Blinds have gone up to 12-24 with a 2K ante. Gomez straight back into the action, raising under the gun with suited connectors. He's made it 53,000. Freitas has picked up 9s though. Just calls. Juan Maceras has the 5 of spades and the 3 of clubs. A monster.
Juan Maceras covering his mouth. FBI profiler Joe Navarro says the mouth gives away a lot of tells. I would think especially if you accidentally announce your hand. That would be the biggest.
It's a 3-bet with the junk hand. He makes it 164,000.
This is a very loose 3-bet. Even when you're bluff 3-betting, you want to have a little better than this. Though I do like the bet sizing.
Well, everyone has folded back around to Gomez.
What you have here is a case of the 3 big stacks at the table having a little stack measuring contest. Juan Maceras is trying to tell Gomez to not get too out of line. He's got position and a big stack.
Gomez has folded. Freitas calls.
Freitas is also out of position, but he's got by far the best of it.
He looks tortured.
He really does.
Well, he should like that flop.
Freitas has flopped the set, so I'm afraid c-betting is futile, foolish human.
Juan Maceras can't hear you, and he is going to continuation bet. He throws in 144,000.
This is a fairly weak lead, which might be all it'd take usually. Even though we know Maceras likely won't give any action to a raise. Personally, I wouldn't want to give a cheap card on this board.
I raise.
All right, once Freitas says raise, this should be a pretty obvious fold for Maceras. My guess is that when he raises in this spot, the absolute worst he has is a monster draw.
300,000 more.
Well, the raise is to 444,000.
You win.
And no real surprise that Juan Maceras is giving up on the hand.
No como de pro.
Eh?
Yo no como de pro. No, 9 high.
Pretty impossible to have 9 high on that board. In case you're wondering, that was Espanol for, wah, I didn't get any value.
Yes.
20 players remain. One of them will be lifting that trophy.
Brah, forget the trophy and the 1.5 Milski. The winner of this event gets a seat to the first ever Champion of Champions event.
Action is on Juan Maceras. He has Jack Queen of Diamonds.
Some big suited Broadway cards.
It's an under the gun raise to 55,000. Godinez has folded, as will Palliser. Soltani's not interested. Gomez, Queen 5 in the small blind. Mux. Ivan Freitas has 8-9 offsuit.
This would be a little loose, but he's getting better than 3-1.
He makes the call.
And these two are at it again.
Gerardo Godinez is going to jazzercise as a flop of 6-8-9 hits the board. Wow. Must be nice to connect like that, Ivan.
Again, Freitas flops the pants off this hand.
It went check on the flop. Freitas checks the turn. And now Juan Maceras is going to make a delayed continuation bet. He has got a gut shot. He's made it 65,000.
Last hand, Freitas couldn't get any value. I would suggest stepping up the aggression if he wants any now.
Well, he just calls.
I think a raise is warranted in that spot. Lots of draws out there.
Deuce of clubs on the river. Freitas checks a third time. Maceras looks like he wants to take a stab at this, and he does. 125,000.
Freitas has played this hand quite passively. Wonder if he was checking to try to get a raise in here.
Godinez has ceased the interpretive dancing. It's a call. Maceras shows queen high. Freitas shows 2 pair.
I don't think Freitas put enough action in on this hand, flopping top 2, but hey, maybe he got Maceras to bluff the maximum.
Ivan Freitas has come here from Venezuela. He's played numerous EPTs this season and has already cashed twice at Copenhagen and Snowfest. Suffice to say, this will be his best result to date. Today is also his youngest son's 5th birthday, and tomorrow it's his wedding anniversary.
Better hope the kid doesn't blow out the candles and wish for daddy to come home early.
We have an all-in at one of our outer tables. It's the Frenchman Hugo Lemaire who's shoved with ace-8, and he's been called by Tamas Lenvai with king-jack.
You know, James, Lemaire is French for the mayor. Lemaire's a slight favorite, but we already saw Lenvai crack kings.
There is a king on the flop. Lenvai takes the lead. Lemaire looking for an ace on the river. It does not come.
Wow.
So Hugo Lemaire finishes in 20th place. That's worth 40,000 euros.
Look at this, poor guy you just lost. Now we're gonna stalk you with the jib camera. How's it feel, buddy?
Well, Tamas Lenvai has now busted 2 players and is up to 1.64 million in chips. That's why he's laughing. He's now 7th on the leaderboard. Eugene Unite is still the biggest stack in the room with close to 3 million, while Torsten Brinkmann has dropped down into 4th. Juan Maceras and Ivan Freitas are still going strong. Alex Gomez sitting on 863,000. Well, Tamas Lenvai is involved in another hand. His button raise pre-flop was called by Higgins and Lee in the blinds. They both checked to him on that flop of ace-deuce-4, and he's continued for 66,000. Higgins has folded. Decisions on Lee.
Lee's got king high and a gut shot, but if he's been paying attention all, he knows Lenvai's never missed a flop.
He obviously hasn't been paying attention because he's check raised to 147,000.
Lee just called out of the big blind pre-flop, so it might be tough for Lenvai to give him credit.
Lenvai calls to 5 on the turn.
Andrew Lee pairs his 5 and also kills his gut shot draw.
He checks.
Lee slowed down, maybe realizing Lenvai shan't be bluffed.
Lenvi checks behind.
Little pot control.
And the river is a 3. They're both playing the board.
As long as no one folds, this pot will end in a chop.
Lee decides to move all in.
This is pretty sick. Lee's taking a stab at bluffing Lenvi off a chop. I like it.
Lenvi makes the call.
Well, it was worth a shot.
Chop it up, dealer.
Nice call.
Pretty sick. Lenvi looks a little annoyed. You can't let these kids see a sweat.
Well, let's return to the action at our feature table. It's been folded around to Sharir Sultani in the small blind, and he is shoved with Queen-Jack suited.
Shoved for about 7 big blinds.
The call.
Alex Gomez calls, and is in front.
That call was for more than a third of Gomez's stack.
Good call.
Not over yet. There are 5 cards to come. Sultani has 2 live cards and has 44% equity. And he pairs his queen on the flop. Gomez picks up a gut shot.
Sultani takes a big lead. Gomez needs to hit a king or a jack, one of which is blocked by Sultani.
Deuce on the turn.
Gomez picks up no additional outs.
Sultani gets the double up.
Gomez made the right call, but with 2 hands like that, you're only slightly better than a coin flip. It's just one of those things. Players be playing, haters be hating, and short stacks be doubling.
Gomez down to 537,000 in just 1 hand. He drops out of the top 10. Still in contention, though, to win the trophy and claim the Triple Crown, following in the footsteps of Roland de Wolf and Gavin Griffin. We're looking at the stacks at our feature table. Nasera still leads. 4 players have below average stacks. Godinez is the short stack, but he's not going to play 5 deuce. Queen 9 for Palliser.
Suited. Palliser's been relatively quiet for a while. With these ever-increasing blinds, you can't really hang back for too long.
Oh dear. Sharir Sultani accidentally folds face up.
Alex Gomez has 22 big blinds, and I can only assume he's a little tilted from that last hand.
Holding.
He shoves.
Palliser can't really like that.
And still Ivan Freitas to act in the big blind. And he's got 10s.
All in 2.
He reshoves. That makes it easy for Palliser to get out of the way.
It's not as bad as you think, Alex. You're racing.
Good luck, Alex.
It is a flip. 2 overcards.
Thanks, man.
Against a pocket pair.
Gomez did not do well in his last coin flip.
$2.
His Triple Crown hopes are on the line.
Okay, now it's my turn, okay, sir?
Doesn't really work like that.
For valete ou dama?
You want to use your 1 time here?
All right, James, put him down for his 1 time. Results not guaranteed.
The flop is ace, ace, 8.
So far, so good for 10s.
Gomez looking for a queen or a jack. It's a king.
Not a bad card at all for Gomez. He can now counterfeit Freitas as well.
Any face card.
All right, man, just do my job, why don't you?
King, queen, or jack needed for Alex Gomez to survive. It's a jack on the river. He gets there.
Alex, you won.
Much.
Using your 1 time really does work.
Maybe for you, but what did Freitas do to deserve that? Now he's going to have to do it to someone else. It's a vicious cycle. When will it end?
Well, the tournament continues for Gomez. He's back in it with more than 1 million chips.
We are 9 away from deciding our final 8, so the pressure is ramping up as the remaining players focus on that staggering €1.5 million first prize. Would you like to play in an EPT event? Well, if you're already a PokerStars.com player, you're all set. If not, grab your laptop and download the software for free at PokerStars.com, and you could win a seat to the next EPT event from the comfort of your own home.
Welcome back to the PokerStars.com EPT Grand Final. We've just lost Laterio Perotta in 17th place, which means we're down to 2 tables of 8.
For those of you who are bad at maths, that means there's 16 players left.
Among them, Andrew Lee, who's joined us on the feature table. Blinds are up to 15 and 30,000 with a 3,000 ante. Lee's going to raise to 65k with ace-queen, but he's walked into the aces of Pedro Pellicer.
Oh boy, Lee's hand is in rough shape.
Looks like Pellicer is counting out a 3-bet.
Otherwise known as a re-raise.
He makes it 155,000. Soltani folds, Alex Gomez gets out of the way. Simon Higgins, new to the table, folds from the button. Doug Palovich gives up the small blind. Ivan Freitas has pocket eights in the big blind.
This should be an annoying but clear fold. Making a habit of calling 3-bets cold out of position with eights when you're not even closing the action will most certainly get you into some bad spots.
Freitas playing a stack of 1.2 million. And he does make the call.
Freitas could be tilted from losing that race to Alexander Gomez. It makes you do spewy things sometimes.
Andrew Lee wisely gets out of the way, so we go heads up to the flop.
Really great fold by Andrew Lee. Possibly got saved by Ivan 8-Tez over there.
King 7-3. Pellicer's ace is still good.
Typically that wouldn't be such a horrible flop for 2-8s.
Freitas checks.
Let's see if Pellicer continues.
Reaches for a stack of blue. Those are the 10,000 chips. Makes it 160,000.
This is a pretty small bet. Pellicer's done a good job of trying to rope Freitas in. Once Freitas has called the 3-bet pre-flop, he probably shouldn't fold to a bet this small.
He does make the call. We go to the turn.
Calls for over 10% of Freitas' stack.
Another 7.
All in.
Freitas shoves. Pellicer insta-calls.
Oh man, I haven't seen a punt this hard since the Super Bowl.
Freitas drawing to 2 outs.
In all likelihood, Freitas has just dusted off over half his stack. If Pellicer can dodge one of the 2 remaining 8s on the river, he will double up.
The river card is a 9. Pellicer gets the double up.
Somebody bring out the hazmat suits because Freitas just had a meltdown.
He's down to 517,000. Pellicer now up to 1.5 million.
In the river. Lost.
No, it wasn't.
On the outer table, Domantas Klimchauskas is all in. He shoved from the small blind with Queen 10, but he walked into Eugene Unite's ace-queen in the big blind.
Oh man, Klimchauskas is back.
I'll handle this one, Joe. It's a King 9 deuce flop. Klimchauskas drawing to a jack or a 10.
Klimchauskas, hey, I got it.
His tournament life's on the line. You don't have to worry about saying his name anymore, Joe. He's eliminated in 16th place. And the rich get richer. Unite playing a monster stack.
Unite is an expert chess player. So good he doesn't even refer to that piece as the horse.
Let's see how all the players stack up. Well, Eugene Unite is still at the top and has been for most of the day. It's a tale of the haves and the have-nots. The haves include Juan Maceres and Alex Gomez, whereas the have-nots include Ivan Freitas, who's the tournament short stack with 386,000. And we've just lost Sharia Soltani from our feature table. He's our 15th place finisher. Another all-in at the outer table. Thomas Pettersson is the player at risk, but he's 4-1 favorite here. Queens against 10s.
Boy, these guys have a lot of superfluous consonants in their names.
The flop is 9-3 deuce. So far, so good for Pettersson.
Spades are nutted, so no backdoor flush for Brinkman.
Ace of spades on the turn. That's slightly annoying for Eugene Unite. He thought for a minute or two before folding ace-king face up. 7 on the river. Queen high flush for Pettersson. He gets the double up. Now has more than $1 million.
Eugene all of a sudden happy again. He also would have lost. Nice fold.
And Torsten Brinkman's fortunes continue to decline. Let's get back to our feature table because Ivan Freitas is all in. He's at risk with 10-7 of clubs. Pedro Pellicer is ahead with ace-king.
Ace-king is ahead, but it's always scary being up against 2 live cards.
Freitas flops a flush.
Pellicer did flop a draw to a bigger flush. He's going to need to hit one of those clubs or Freitas will double up. Even though Pellicer is a Spaniard, there's quite the crowd forming cheering on the Venezuelan Freitas.
8 of hearts on the turn. Freitas just has to fade. Another club on the river.
Only a 14% chance Palliser will catch that club.
No club. So Freitas doubles up to 1.27 million and proves that any two can win. Let's have a look at the last 55 hands that Freitas has been dealt.
Freitas has played 11 of those hands for a VPIP of 20%. Not surprising, he's been the short stack. 4 of the 11 hands have been pocket pairs, which he's won with 50% of the time. He lost with a couple decent pairs, but won with 9s and kings. And even though it's not a pocket pair, he did manage to win with the biggest monster in all of poker, 10-7 of clubs.
So Freitas no longer the short stack. At our outer table, another all-in, another blind-on-blind confrontation. Ankush Mandavia shoving from the small with ace-4, called by Andrei Danilyak in the big blind with ace-jack.
Domination nation for Mandavia.
There's a 4 on the flop.
Oh, ugly flop. Danilyak now reverse dominated.
One more 4.
Greedy.
The turn is the ace of spades.
OMG, Danilyak just picked up a lot of outs.
9. Hold.
17 of them.
Come on.
It's a spade on the river, the flush for Danilyak, and the elimination of Ankush Mandavia.
You know what they say about the old suck, resuck? Sucks. And we are just cruising right to that final table.
And Andrei Danilyak is among the big stacks, sitting on around 2.5 million now. Well, we've lost a player from our feature table. Simon Higgins was our 12th place finisher, so 11 remain, with the blinds up to 25 and 50,000 with a 5K ante.
This table is now 5-handed.
Alex Gomez has folded under the gun. Even Freitas has ace-4 of hearts.
This is a fairly strong hand, 5-handed.
He will raise it to 120K. On the Ceres has king-queen offsuit. He's going to call in position. Andrew Lee gives up the small blind. Pedro Palliser has pocket 10s in the big blind.
2 10s are the smallest big pocket pair, so I'm pretty certain we'll see a 3-bet, especially since Palliser's out of position. He'd likely rather play this pot heads up.
He does re-raise. The 3-bet is 425,000.
All in.
And Freitas shoves.
And they use 6, 7,000.
There's optimism for you. Palliser calls.
Call.
This is pretty incredible. Palliser is the chip leader at the table. Freitas is second in chips at this table. With Freitas' superstar punt here, Palliser is poised to have more than 3 times the chips than anyone else at this table.
Freitas at risk, looking for an ace. There's 2 of them!
Oh man, does this guy run good. Must be nice, buddy. Must be nice. Palliser can still hit a 10, and he's got 2 shots to do it.
The turn card is a 5.
So they only have for Pedro. Pedro needs to catch a 10.
10 needed for Palliser to eliminate Ivan Freitas. But it's a 9. Freitas gets the double up, as if you needed me to tell you that.
And Pedro Palliser goes from being table chip leader to being the absolute shortest stack with just 12 big blinds. And Ivan Freitas is now the overwhelming chip leader for the entire tournament.
At least Pedro Palliser isn't getting it rubbed in his face.
What celebration? I don't hear any celebration.
Oh, I feel for you, buddy. So we play on. 11 have to play down to 8 today. Who's going to make the final table? Freitas in a firm position to lock up a seat. Alex Gomez with ace-jack here. He's raising. A min raise to 100,000. Freitas with king 4. Takes a hand off.
Oh, king 4 is a fold, though. Ace 4 punt the entire stack.
Ceres has folded the button. It's deuce 3 for Andrew Lee in the small blind. He folds. Pedro Pellicer with ace-10.
Pellicer just suffered a huge suck out. Now it looks like it's going to be an annoying cold deck.
How much then? Like 5?
6 maybe.
Yeah, go.
Alex Gomez calls his all in and puts Pedro Pellicer at risk.
Alex, you're ahead by like a lot.
Well, he has the support of the South Americans on the rail.
Ace of clubs
And we already know how Pedro Pellicer runs.
The all-in for Pedro is around 600,000.
Just hold one time.
You've used your one time already, Alex.
Yeah, sure, I promise. Thank you.
The flop has 2 diamonds on it.
Big sweat on the flop.
3, 2, 9. It's 10 diamonds.
Pedro can hit a diamond or a 10. Oh, it was red.
2 of hearts.
Se puede repartir el
Black one, please.
So there's a 9 and a 3 for the split.
But not a black 10.
Diamond for the win. 10 for the win for Pedro.
Pellicer needs a 10 or a diamond. It's another deuce. So in the space of 2 hands, we have seen Pedro Pellicer go from being a big stack to our 11th place finisher. He'll collect 70,000 euros.
Really lucky that hand.
Yeah, I know.
That was brutal.
What to say?
That was brutal.
Alex Gomez now sitting on 1.8 million.
Welcome back to Madrid for the PokerStars.com Grand Final. It's crunch time here in the Casino Grand Madrid. Our next exit will mean that we break the last outer table and the remaining 9 players will convene on the feature table to fight it out for a place in the final 8. At this crucial stage, the players will do whatever it takes to ensure they are not the next to hit the rail. So let's get straight back to the feature table to find out who has the game plan to go all the way.
This ain't no regular final table they're fighting for, James. This is the EPT Grand Final, the big one. It's gut check time.
Right now we have 2 tables of 5. Blinds are 25 and 50,000. Action's been folded by Alex Gomez. Ivan Freitas has 5-6 of hearts.
It's a fine hand to play when you're short-handed and when you're the massive chip leader.
He's made it 120,000. Jack 3 for Juan Maceras. That goes in the muck. Andrew Lee's on the button. 7 deuce.
That's annoying.
Eugene Unite has just joined our feature table. And he has King Queen in the big blind.
Should be a pretty easy defend from the big blind.
He makes the call. And we go heads up to the flop. King 5-3.
Eugene's flop top pair. Freitas has also caught a piece, which I assume should be more than enough for him to continue here.
Eugene Unite has checked to him. Freitas continues for 200,000.
Unite might be wondering if he can get away with a raise. The board's pretty dry, however, so he'd be repping a very strong hand.
He elects just a call. The turn card is another 5. Freitas continues to run golden.
Freitas runs better than Usain Bolt.
Goes check, check, and a 6 on the river, giving Freitas a full house.
Freitas boats up. I think he missed some value on the turn, but I doubt he'll be checking behind this time. It's going to be really tough for Eugene to not think he has the best hand.
He's going to put out a value bet, 275,000.
Much?
A little Hollywooding, maybe.
Okay, raise.
Raise coming.
I'm sorry, I call.
What?
I call.
You said raise.
You announced raise.
No, speak English.
You announced raise.
No speak English. No way he meant to just call with a full house. That was not a mistake.
Thomas Krems has been called to the table.
I believe we're looking at an angle shoot here. Freitas knows the rule is that his raise must stand.
Wow, you see that?
And I think he's trying to make it look like he didn't want to raise, so he'll get a call out of Eugene.
I think this is exactly the same situation that we had already in this tournament, when you did exactly the same move when you had the nuts. I just share this information with you, okay?
Wow, Freitas has got previous for this.
You understand? So I force you to raise now, and you have the option what you do. Twice, you need to put in another 275.
I think this is well handled by Thomas Kremser.
He's forcing Freitas to min-raise, but he's told Eugene Unite that this is a move that Freitas makes when he's got a monster.
So because of what happened before.
Oh, do you force him to min raise?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not my option whether or not he raises. It's my option what to do now, right? That's what you're saying? Okay, I understand.
Armed with that information, does Eugene Unite now fold top pair?
I know we're not supposed to actively root for players, but I sure hope he mucks. Make Freitas look like a chump.
He makes the call. Freitas shows the full house.
Same situation again.
No, I know. I heard about this before the tournament started.
So ugly, I can tell you.
Ugly. Move was so dirty, feel like I need a shower.
I heard about this guy a week ago. I heard about this guy a week ago. Okay.
I've never seen Thomas Kremser look so disgusted.
Speaking of disgusted, look at the other players at the table. Look at Juan Maceras. You know, back in the old days, running an angle shoot could get you actually shot.
This drama now has a villain. How is his victim feeling about that?
Eugene, you were involved in a bit of a controversial hand against Ivan. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, my opponent said, okay, I raise, and he put out a call. And then he said, oh no, I mean call, no speak English. And you know, the floor man came up and said, you know, this guy did this earlier in the tournament with the nuts, just so you know, but I am going to make him raise because he said raise. Apparently the guy did this like 3 times with the nuts in San Remo or something, and it worked every time.
So the cool raise trick by Ivan could be a tell.
It is a tell. It's absolutely a tell. And he could have gotten more money out of me by making a normal raise.
And do you think this has affected the mood at the table?
Yeah, everybody except me is really upset at him. Everybody else is like, oh, this guy's unbelievable. Obviously the floor man is upset because he went and told me that this guy was doing this earlier. But, you know, it's going to happen.
Well, I have to say, you look pretty relaxed, so I'm going to let you go. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we'll see what happens.
Alrighty.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sorry that happened to Eugene and all, but why in the world would he still call?
I give him credit for rising above it. Anyway, let's move on. On this next hand, we are going to sweat with Juan Maceras. We're only going to see his hole cards.
I want to sweat with Ivan. Maybe he'll lie about what his hand is before tabling his cards.
Action's been folded to Alex Gomez. He also gets out of the way. Action's on, Ivan Freitas. And he's going to raise the button. Makes it 105,000. Juan's got 8s in the small blind.
Calling's just fine in this spot.
He does just call. Andrew Lee gives up the big blind. Heads up to the flop against Ivan Freitas.
The angle shooter.
10 deuce jack rainbow.
Not a great flop for 2-8s. Juan should check to the razor.
He does, and Freitas checks behind. Turn card for free. It's the 4 of clubs.
Ivan's given up the lead. I'm starting to like Juan's hand more.
Juan bets 50,000. It's a min bet. Called by Ivan.
Ivan's made all kinds of bizarre moves and plays. It's hard to put him on a hand.
Ace on the river. Juan checks. Freitas bets 225,000.
This would be a pretty thin call. Most of the time, I think this is a fold. Just too much out there that can beat 2-8s. Juan looks awfully frustrated, though. Juan's sister looking on.
He calls.
Total frustration call. I don't like his chances.
2 pair.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Ivan showing ace 4, 2 pair, ace 4.
Once again, Freitas gets there with the raggy ace. I think Juan knew he was losing there and made the call anyway. Freitas has got this whole table on tilt and it's working to his advantage. He's turning out to be quite the villain.
Look at the contrast in their stack sizes. And the contrast in their playing styles as well. Juan's the more active, more aggressive player. But for Freitas, he just hits every time.
It's a skill you can't learn.
On the outer table, Alessandro Limblici is all in with King 5. Torsten Brinkmann has him dominated with Ace 5.
Pretty annoying for Limblici. You'd think with a hand like King 5, he'd at least be drawing live, but nope, he's dominated.
And now he's drawing super, super thin. And now he's drawing dead.
Arrivederci.
The Italian will be the 10th place finisher And the final 9 will take their seats around our extended feature table and play down to 8. Let's take a look at how the final 9 stack up. Ivan Freites is the overwhelming tournament chip leader, and the 2 shortest stacks, the 2 players at immediate risk, are Andrew Lee and Thomas Pettersson. As we join the action, blinds are 40 and 80,000 with a 5K ante.
Now that we're back to a full ring play, expect to see ranges tighten up a bit again.
Alex Gomez and Eugene Unite are in the blinds. Tamas Lenvai will be under the gun.
Lenvai is rather short himself with just over 20 big blinds.
He has king 3, and he folds. Juan Maceras has queens.
How's Freitas going to find a way to crack these?
Juan starts the hand with 1.9 million. He raises it up to 180,000. Andre Danielyuk has 7-5 off. He'll pass. Thomas Pettersson looks like he has a decision because he has ace-king.
Pettersson is the absolute shortest stack at the table. I think we're very likely to see it all get in here.
He moves all in, and it's likely the action will be folded around back to Maceras. But wait.
Exact complete.
Sounds like Gomez is considering a call. Maceras does tend to open pretty light. This information could be trouble for Gomez. Gomez isn't all that deep either.
He makes a disciplined pass.
Tight is right. He almost wanted them back for a second.
I call.
Maceras makes the call.
It's a race. If queens hold up, we'll have our final table. And Gomez is thrilled.
If the queens hold, the rest of the table will be thrilled because they'll be coming back for the final. There's a queen on the flop.
Maceras takes a huge lead, but Pettersson isn't drawing dead. He's got lots of backdoor outs.
Nice one, sir. So Juan hits his set. The ace of hearts.
Ja, Jessica. Dam kom den.
Pettersson needs some help on the turn. And he gets it. He can win with a jack on the river.
If not, the Spaniard will have made the final table on his own soil.
It's a king. Thomas Pettersson is the final table bubble boy.
Congratulations, guys. You've made the final table of the EPT Grand Final. Not too bad. In my book, you're all winners.
Nice river for me normally, but no queen.
So 8 players will return for the last final table of EPT Season 7, and Joe is thrilled to see that it's Ivan Freites who'll be coming in as the commanding chip leader.
Puh.
The final table is set. Each player is on course for the biggest win of their career. For one world-class pro, the Triple Crown is at stake. For another, there's a chance of becoming a local hero. And this man just hopes his chip lead will steer him to victory. Who will be the EPT7 Grand Final champion?